washed it and kept it. I've had it for 10 years. You know what tribe this is?
Don't have enough money to get it funded, so we just pay our own way. That's pretty large.
I was going to stay near where you're staying. I might in a couple of days. I have 2 friends.
It's very easy.
People, not profit. People. People, not profit. People. People, not profit.
WTO has got to go, hey, hey, ho, ho. WTO has got to go, hey, hey, ho, ho. WTO has got to go, hey, hey, ho, ho.
WTO has got to go, hey, hey, ho, ho. WTO has got to go, hey, hey, ho, ho. WTO has got to go, hey, hey, ho, ho. WTO has got to go, hey, hey, ho, ho. WTO has got to go, hey, hey, ho, ho. Clean up the planet. Hey, hey, ho, ho. WTO has got to go, hey,
Well, I'll tell you what, the WTO seems to be taking over. It seems to be the U.S. government, or not the U.S. government, but the world government at this point.
And where are you from?
Northern California.
Are you a union worker? Or?
What's that?
Are you with a union or?
No, I'm not.
So,
independent.
Great. So if you're to, what do you think a positive, or what will be the outcomes of this protest?
Well, I just hope that there's more awareness, because basically people don't seem to know what the WTO is all about, and the unfair trade policies that it's created. Free trade actually is a real problem for the small nations.
So if you were to restructure the WTO, what would that look like?
Gosh, just be fair, basically. You know, right now it's so unfair. It's like the major nations basically are in control, taking resources from small countries, exploiting workers in small countries for essentially greed.
So what brought you to Seattle?
What brought me to Seattle is that I saw a bunch of flyers and read a bunch of other information regarding the WTO, and I decided that I wanted to stand against a lot of their philosophies, their exploitation of the lands and the people.
What do you think a good outcome from this would be?
I'm hoping to raise awareness on, like through the streets, that it's not just a radical cause to stand for, that it's something that we all need to fight for as humans, as people of this planet, that this is something we need to fight for in order to save our natural resources and our people.
We do. We protest something that has so much more to do with things that we don't understand, that are so over our head, that, like you're saying about the labor unions, the events that are taking place in third world countries, that is in essence of their problem. That is of their culture. There's an extent of where the corporate people come in and will manipulate these people, but aren't we doing that within our elected officials who elect these representatives within the WTO and our union members, our union leaders?
So we have it, we look at the hierarchy of organized labor in the U.S., right, the FL-CIO,
Right.
John Sweeney. He has several emotions. One seems to be that he would like to get on the inside of the WTO, be a party to it, because we all know from any group we've ever been in, it's easier to work within the perimeters of a group if you're in than it is to just stand on the outside, knock them.
Right.
So if you're in, you can have something even to say, even if you don't get a voice, you only get a seat. Your presence there causes people to respond a little differently to things.
So we're hoping that today the protest in itself will respond to our officials that we need more.
We're hoping that the President of the United States is going to notice that we're not out here saying, "Hey, Prez, come on! You know, this is capitalistically empower the world to make everybody mine everything they can possibly mine, farm everything they can possibly farm, and just throw it all on the market, and we'll all come out and be better off." Because we really know that's not how it really works. We know it don't work that way.
We definitely can't make a free trade market.
Hands high. I don't see very many hands. Now I want to see the hands of everyone who thinks that your community, including you, with more to come. In the 1995, and they said in that law, first and
E aqui.
No. Well, that's their retail space. That's their private space.
Out here?
Well, this is up to the sidewalk is private property.
you just can't film. You can't film. It's a security thing, you know. People don't want it. Yep. Get the
to be in our food. Educate yourself. Unity, community, solidarity.
Why do I think they specifically stopped here?
Yeah, why are we here?
There's apparently the French farmers are going to be dumping a load of agricultural waste at the door of McDonald's in a little while. Yeah, like 1:30 was the idea, but everything's, you know, appropriately slowed down, I guess.
Why agricultural waste?
I think probably because the well, you know, you pick somebody who's got a vested interest in this. I'm a small restaurant owner myself. You know, you get basically what you've got right here is multinational corporations that are able to buy Argentinian beef at 16 cents a pound. They're able to exploit workers, paying them 50 cents a day to grow tomatoes. I've got an organic restaurant in Montana. We buy locally produced meat, we buy locally produced organic produce, and we have to pay and operate in that economy. We don't get to benefit from the discrepancies in price and the changes in currency values that these kind of guys can get in that situation. And we still have to try and offer, we pay exactly the same taxes, we pay the same unemployment, workman's comp, and everything else that the multinationals pay, and yet we're trying to compete with them in the same marketplace and offer I'm lucky to offer a sandwich for $5, you know, operating completely within the domestic economy, you know, by exploiting, you know, low wages overseas and other stuff. These guys can offer an abnormally underpriced burger and still make enough money to buy the legislation that they want to continue the practice. I can't afford to go to Congress and get a lobbyist, you know, not for a single, you know, homegrown business like a local restaurant.
Is that why you're here?
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I'm here.
And what do you think is going to happen? What are your hopes?
What do I hope will happen in Seattle?
Or after Seattle?
I don't know. Other than getting euphemistic and teary-eyed about the prospects for world peace and less exploitation of workers, I hope that we can send a message. I hope that this gives them some sort of bargaining power. I hope that you get NGOs admitted into the tribunal process so that you don't just have simply corporate interests and some basically paid legal assistance making policy. I mean, you've had 150 cases put before the WTO. You haven't had any decided in favor of local environmental work or you know, cultural laws. It's a straight win-win situation for the corporations, you know.
I'm here because I think that the rules that the WTO has set up are very unfair. They're secretive. They're of no benefit to the general interest. They're of great benefit to large multinational corporations. I may not look like it, but I have a PhD in economics, and I used to be a professor of economics. I taught at Portland State University, and I have a PhD from UC Berkeley in 1970. Berkeley's economics department is not a hotbed of radicalism by any means. It's an extremely conservative, traditional academic department.
Come and join us. We're standing here together to represent against McDonald. Everybody from the street.
It's secretive, for one thing. It stresses only the value of trade and does not recognize the other human values which should not be subservient to trade issues, to economic issues. There's a lot more to life that's much more important than an efficiently functioning market system with all of its horrendous costs to the rest of the economy, to people in general. The best quote about the secrecy, however, is Adam Smith. Rarely do businessmen come together, even for merriment, that the conversation does not turn to a conspiracy to raise price or against the public interest. That isn't very well known. The invisible hand is the invisible hand that the WTO tribunal would have for 3 trade lawyers making decisions that can override the national policy of any national government. They are a world government that is totally unaccountable in any way. I hope these rules must be changed. There must be rules, but these rules are extraordinarily slanted. It will turn a few heads if there's enough people. It's always a struggle. There's no end to the kind of struggle against large, well-financed interests. Yes, this will slow it down, and hopefully we'll defeat it and structure it correctly.
Stand together and unify!
national strike. First week of the millennium, everybody stay home. Workers of the world, relax. Yep, I hope you got that. Workers of the world, relax. Yep, take the first week of the millennium off. That's it, the biggest national strike. Let them know who's boss. Yeah, and just reflect on your future and your destiny. National strike. First week of the millennium. Everybody relax. Workers of the world, relax.
That farmers should serve you food, then you should close this outlet. These fast food chains are a global problem. It's not a problem of the United States or a problem of any particular country. It's a global problem.
Shut it down.
It's a question of food sovereignty and food security. And you do not know.
I'm sorry, people on the bus, excuse me! Peacefully, the wires above your head are full of electricity, and if you touch them, they will kill you. So please be respectful of the space around us and get off the bus.
Get off the bus! Keep speaking. Come on. Excuse me. You can't be up here, please. I understand, but
American farmer is better.
Okay, all right. Thank you. I'm Bill Christensen. I'm the president of the National Family Farm Coalition, and we are very pleased that so many people came today. We are also very pleased that we have special guests from around the world here, and we are working on family farm issues, and we will continue to promote family farm agriculture because we know that's the kind of food that you all want to consume. And we also know that you are very much opposed to GMOs, and we are very proud to be announcing the Family Farmer Declaration here today. We have had several meetings with Jose Bové, and we are very much really want to hear. Here is Jose Bové. Well, I'm happy today to be with you. I think the fight is beginning now, and together I think we can win. For us, the fight has begun in August. It began when WTO decided that our cheese couldn't come in the United States because Europe refused almond beef. And so that day, we decided to begin the resistance. The resistance.
The people want to be in this intersection. It's not my choice. Okay, whose choice is it?
We decided to begin the resistance against WTO. Against also the multinational corporation. Against Monsanto. Actually, I think we're going to win because Monsanto is finished. People doesn't want to eat any more that kind of food. We don't want any more hormone in the beef. We don't want any more GMO in our food. I think actually in the United States you have to make also a big movement to put this kind of multinationals away. You shall throw them in the sea. So all this week we have been visiting family farmers. What's happening in the United States is the same thing in Europe. Actually, the family farmers
Yes, kind of. Yes.
Why are you here?
Well, actually, I just wanted to observe the protest here. I think the WTO is a evil necessity, though. I think these people are all misguided. I understand the facts of you know, cheap labor and practices throughout the world and stuff like that, but without this organization, you know, business people like myself wouldn't be able to compete fairly overseas and abroad in other markets.
What do you do?
I'm in the diamond business. And
so the WTO affects you?
well, yes, because without the organization of countries getting together and setting these price standards, you know, we have these unfair practices going on, and it's just hard to compete without it. And it's a lot of big business people involved, but the standard of living we enjoy here in the United States is directly attributed to the WTO, I believe. And I don't know. I don't want to get lynched out here, so. Well, it's not really they're misguided. It's just the fact that I think most of these people are here just out of curiosity. But if they really understood the lifestyle that we are enjoying to live in this country, as opposed to other countries, we're not doing too bad. You know, everybody's driving nice cars. Everybody has the apartments, houses, nice clothes. You know, I've traveled abroad extensively, and I've seen some poor people. I've seen poor, and we've never. I don't see anything near that way. You know, here in the United States. Yeah, that could be. That could be. I don't know. I'm against, you know, unfair labor practices and stuff like that. And I don't believe in child labor and all that kind of stuff. But this is not going to stop it. It's not going to stop it. These are very powerful people, very wealthy and powerful people, and they're not about to give up.
What is going to change?
I really don't know that answer. If I knew that one, I'd probably run for Congress or something.
I'm Palker. I'm with the As You Sow Foundation, and I'm with an accredited NGO that went through the exclusive, frankly, process of getting accredited. And I have my little badge here, and I'm supposed to be allowed access to the ministerial meeting. Today is NGO Day. I'm supposed to provide access for NGOs. And I was sent walking 8 blocks out of my way when it was pouring rain. And then once I got to where they kept telling me to go, they sent me in the opposite direction and said I couldn't get in. And this didn't just happen to me as an NGO, it also happened to some people with press passes who were accredited members of the press. And I did talk to someone who did get in, who was an NGO, and he said the floor time provided, they scrap the floor time. So it's just lectures from the ministers and no access for the NGOs, even though they say this is our day for access. So, you know, and my organization advocates on behalf of shareholders who are trying to change corporations as shareholders. So we had shareholder resolutions with Home Depot trying to get the company to stop selling old growth wood. And in August, the company announced that it would stop selling old growth. But the WTO threatens that. If eco-labeling is considered a non-tariff barrier to trade, then there's no incentive for corporations to stop unsustainable harvesting practices of wood. And so eco-labeling is essential, and that's what I wanted to say had I been given the opportunity, but I've been shut out. Well, you know, the police kept saying, oh, well, we were told to send you this way, oh, we were told to send you this way, and then they wouldn't call each other on their walkie-talkies to figure out where I should go. And I think, you know, I think they're just angry at what's happening here with the protests, so they're taking it out on me.